Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, I have ADHD, and this is I Know What I'm Doing. This is the channel where I indulge my urge to start new hobbies with little to no prior knowledge and the faith that I'll figure it out as I go. I'm not always safe, please don't do as I do. Today is a long one because I want to show you the finished lamp, and it was a struggle. If you want to see me clean up her cabinet first, check out those videos here. You can also check out part 1 of the cleaning here. If you enjoy watching this, please subscribe, check the description for links to my Ko-fi and Patreon accounts. New hobbies are expensive, so are good microphones and cameras, so your donations are greatly appreciated. I'm still trying to get this wire to stick to the heckin' light socket. I think I finally got it, but there's limited space in the lamp, so I need to flatten this down as much as I can. Okay, next I need to check the angles to make sure the tiny piece for the switch sits correctly. Lucky for me, the soldering kit came with these tweezers. I really wish I had one of those fancy jeweler stands though, with all the little bendy clamp arms. Instead, I get to do what I can with what I have where I am, and what I have is D-clamps and tweezers, and where I am is here in my sewing room, so let's make the most of it. What I've done is put a little bit of solder on the actual bit, and then it just needs to stick right on the end of the wire. I just have to get that to stick together somehow. Unfortunately, because there is really only one angle I can work with this at, the light socket itself is in the way of most of what I'm doing, but I'm essentially using the soldering iron to melt the solder that's already on there to try to stick it to the wire, and it's just not cooperating. Okay, I think that's finally stuck on there. Let's do a little bit of cleanup before I try to put this all back into the casing. And then I realized that I moved things around, so I didn't get it at the right angle, so now I've got to take it off and try to put it back on. Ah! And there I'm just clipping off some excess because everything in here is very cramped. So any excess is going to mean it doesn't fit. Now I just need to screw the light bulb back in and put this baby back together. And this cord isn't wanting to sit right, so I'll just have to finagle it, and of course the socket came unattached again from the wire, so we're going to go back to the soldering iron. That's where I learned that the lamp cord is actually too thick for the opening at the end of the lamp. So that would explain why they had that second piece of wire in the one that I took out that was thinner. So I'm going to trim down the coating on this, which is not the safe way to do it, but that's the way I'm going to try. In retrospect, were I an intelligent person, I might have checked that the wire was now thin enough before reattaching the socket. Because guess what? It wasn't thin enough, and then I trimmed too close. So now there's metal showing, and I'm going to have to wrap it, and luckily the soldering kit came with the little shrink wrap sleeves. And it turns out that once you start trimming down the coating, it becomes more difficult to just strip the coating like you would for a normal wire. But this time I'm glad that the socket popped off again, because that makes it easier to put the shrink wrap on, and then I can use a soldering iron to shrink it down as tight as I possibly can. First, I just have to get some of the solder off of the end so the shrink wrap will actually fit over it. And then I just have to reattach the wire once again and pray. Of course it's still too thick, but I'm just going to use the soldering iron to smooth it down a little bit more. At this point I've had it. It's not a perfect fit, but I'm going to go for brute force and just get those rings on. While I wrestle with this, I'd like to thank you for sticking this through with me. If you have a hobby you think I should try, drop it in the comments along with any useful bits of advice or thoughts on the video. I'll see you Friday when I move on to the next electric component of this machine. Love you!